Greetings, mortals, flesh bags, and, potential future minions. I'm not your typical guide. I am, well, a lich. And why am I here? Honestly, when you have an eternity of free time, you find the chaotic flailing of adventurers amusing.
It is pretty entertaining.
It is. And frankly, analyzing their mess is better than reorganizing my bone collection for the 100th time.
And I'm here for a much simpler reason, return on investment. I'm a businessman.
Oh, yes.
I've looked at the numbers, and it turns out that analyzing high-risk ventures is a highly monetizable vertical. And I love the sound of my own voice.
So we make quite the pair. A master of death and a master of, what is it, compound interest?
Compound interest is a force more powerful than necromancy, my friend. But before we get into that, we have to give a huge shout-out to a very special listener.
Oh, yeah. Isaac the Great.
The Isaac.
The celebrity wizard himself and, probably the most important stakeholder in this whole story. And the owner of one of our subjects today,
Jellybean.
Jellybean ate one of Isaac's Gatestone gems.
A very expensive snack.
Incredibly. But it got results. Raising a ferret to be a sorcerer, that's the kind of delightful disregard for the natural order I can respect.
And I admire his bank account. Isaac, let's do lunch. My people will call your people. But for now, let's get down to it.
Let's meet the board of directors.
These are the assets you'd be investing in, Isaac. Petnin. He is an elderly Furbolg druid. His official title, Money Hordes Person.
With Petnin, it's more of a bury it in the ground and turn into a badger kind of vibe, but he brings tenure. Okay, next up, the logistics department. That's Erevin, a noble half-elf Drake Ranger, and he holds the title of cartographer. But he also brings a tangible capital asset to the table.
Syntherin.
A silver dragon companion.
In traditional business terms, Jellybean is a walking liability. Extremely high volatility.
But in the venture capital world, that's what we call a disruptor. You never know what he's going to do, which means the competition doesn't either.
True. Now, the muscle. Valor. A half-sea elf. Valor leans heavily into the pit fighter part of his resume.
He is the enforcer. He's not writing jingles. He is breaking kneecaps. He is gruff, violent, and incredibly efficient.
Every board needs someone who is willing to get their hands dirty. And finally, the new hire. He's still technically in his probationary period. Rowan, an Aasimar cleric.
And he brings a unique, and let's be honest, a quite expensive perspective to the team. Morality.
So about the Hobnobs, well, that I'm the one who gave them their start. Even after they deceived me. I just like to jib with them, and I set them up with a franchise. Well, it's a good thing too, because there's this organization of the Six. They're always trying to topple Acquisitions Incorporated. Well, these Hobnobs managed to take them down. They acquired the r.e.p.o, a magical device, I hear, capable of ending the world. They acquired it out from under them, and they couldn't have done it without their cunning teamwork and guile. And, well, of course, me. Couldn't have done it without me giving them a chance in the first place. Well, so then it came to celebrate them having saved the world. We had this big festival in Keister. It was so profitable, that little village probably won't ever see it again. But the Hobnobs, they think themselves too important. Let me tell you, they up and left, up to grander markets. Ha! Took their airship with them too. Well, I say there's still plenty of business down in this valley here, and I'm on my way to expand. I'm heading to New Barrett Dur next, with or without him. I hear there's a goblin king that's business savvy. Well, I wish them all the best in their new adventures, wherever that may lie.
Okay, let's start at the top. The logistics. They fly their airship, the fight and flight, to the Dragon Isles. Now, they have two main objectives. One, find the mother of Daba Shaba, their little brass wormling.
Who is also their HR rep.
The worst HR rep. But goal one, find his mom.
And goal two.
Goal two is for Erevan. He's trying to help his soul-bonded dragon, Syntherin. She's got total amnesia.
So they're going to a land of dragons to help a dragon.
What do I think of the Dragon Isles? Well, first impressions were interesting, given that the first thing I saw was the body of an ancient red dragon impaled on a building. After the events at Silmore, where I lost my father, my mentor, and nearly my whole family, I was really hoping that the Dragon Isles would be a nice, stress free adventure where Sin and I could uncover the origins of our bond, maybe even help Tabashaba reunite with his family, but, well, it's been a bit more involved than that, shall we say? No. Despite all of the upheaval in the city, the Isles themselves are a magnificent sight to behold. I mean, islands that float among the clouds. It's like something from my adventure books that I read growing up. How could you not be impressed? You know, once everything calms down and we find Abashiba's family, I think Sin and I might end up staying here. You know, find a place for ourselves, maybe not exactly on the main isle, perhaps on that lovely green isle that floats next to it. My keen ranger instincts tell me that there's much to be found there in the way of natural treasures and wealth alike. We could use some of the money from the franchise to build a ranch and live off the land. Sim would have plenty of room to fly about as she would, and we could have the other hobnobs come to stay when the Fight and Flight returns to do business in the city. Ah, that would be the dream.
They get to Grind City, and immigration just turns the ship away. No papers.
And the local law is, well, it's intense.
It's fascinatingly draconian.
Right, if you're a dragon, you're a citizen. If you're not a dragon, you're property. You have to be owned by one.
It's a property-based economy.
So they're forced to divert. They land at Winter Island to investigate, what, a later dispute?
Yeah, they think it's a simple side quest. They meet a red-haired humanoid named Rowan arguing with some protesting kobold miners.
The mines? Oh, I was sent there. Inham needed someone who wouldn't die easily, that could heal anyone too injured to be productive. That was my role. When I arrived, the kobolds, they were already refusing to work, had formed a line outside the entrance, picks down, tools abandoned. They were right, it was too dangerous, and I agreed with them. I wasn't there to make them go back in. I told them not to, but there were others still unaccounted for, workers who hadn't come out when tunnels were sealed. I couldn't just leave them there, just because the work had stopped. And that was when the Hobnobs arrived. Not for the same reasons, mind you. They were new to the Dragon Isles. Curious, opportunistic, talking about compensation, favours, what Inham might owe them. Very themselves. I thought they were strange, loud, not my kind of people. That unsettled me immediately. Not cruel, just unmoored. Jellybean was already negotiating. Valor stood like someone expecting trouble and hoping it came soon.
Just let me out.
Erevan listened. The kobolds let us through because they were tired of losing people. They didn't trust in him. They didn't trust the mines. They trusted numbers. We found the users first, and then the Oblex. It tried to bargain. It wanted to stay, to keep feeding. It promised it would be careful, that it wouldn't take too much. I refused, and something happened then. I didn't choose it, it just did. And usually, if people are witnessing me as an Azamar, most people looked at me differently, like they'd been reminded of something that they didn't want to think about. The Hobnobs didn't. Jellybean just looked up and said something like, "Oh, this guy has wings." And they just went straight back to what he was doing. Valor adjusted his stance, Petnan tilted his head, Erevan smiled. Just a little. The Oblex stopped bargaining, and at that point, I didn't know if it was Ilmater's will or just really bad intuition on my part. I didn't belong with them, I knew that, but I also knew I wasn't staying behind, so I went to Inham. I didn't ask permission. I told him that I was going with them. He'd already decided where my body belonged, but I decided where the rest of me did. And looking back, they were strange, self-interested, dangerous. But they helped anyway, and no one was abandoned in that mine. Not that day.
Who? Oh, the health healy one. I don't even know where we found him, to be honest. Is he part of the crew now? Anyway, enough about him. What about Joel? Have I told you about him?
One eternity later.
Rowan does sound awfully like Cyrus, if you ask me. He's very suspicious indeed. Oh God, the squirrels need a cuddling.
Apparently the Hobnobs are terrified because a certain Lich named Lottie is supposedly hunting them.
Yes, over a stolen artifact called the r.e.p.o.
Well, I can't confirm or deny if this Lottie is me, but I will say this. If you steal a priceless magical artifact from a Lich, you should expect a visit.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
Petnin gets stuck inside a gelatinous cube, which has to be terrible for the skin. They defeat the oozes with a lot of help from Rowan, and they find the loot. And it's not a magic sword.
It's something much more valuable. Visas. They dock and see 3 hanging corpses labeled thief, runaway, and debtor.
And one of them looks like another version of Cyrus.
That guy just can't catch a break.
It sets a tone, but now we get to my favorite part, the financial review. I want to start with Eravin, the ranger.
Okay, let's hear it.
He starts with a massive capital expenditure, 400 gold exploring Winter Island. The return on investment, 0, a total loss.
There's no money in it!
Petnin, he decides to get into selling illegal mushroom drugs, and he is terrible at it. Makes a measly 50 gold profit, and then, get this, a squirrel steals his inventory.
A squirrel?
A squirrel. But then he pivots.
He does.
He decides to fix the drug problem he literally just created. He shifts to philanthropy.
He creates the crisis and then solves it.
Drugs, they're bad for y'all. Even worse, they're against the law. Drugs, now listen to me. If you want to be cool, you'll be drug-free.
And by doing so, he actually lowers their operational costs by 20% for months.
Then we have Jellybean. He spends 150 of his own gold schmoozing to promote the business. I approve.
He also ran a fortune-telling booth.
Borderline fraudulent, netted 100 gold. And then he started gambling on black stock. Sounds like insider trading to me. So who was actually paying the bills?
Valor, the bard fighter. He went into the fighting pits. He was their cash cow, bringing in 200 gold a week.
But we can't forget Rowan, running a soup kitchen.
And healing people. He even gave therapy to a cleric of Tiamat.
Wow, that's a niche market.
It is. And for all his good deeds, the Blue Dragon in charge of immigration gives them a 2-month tax break.
Then the plot shifts.
Right. Valor comes back from a trip with a letter literally stuck in him. It's a magic mouth from someone named Alice. And the message is basically, I hear you abduct people. Can you abduct me?
An invitation.
She says she'll be near the big green crystal, which sets up the heist. Simthrin, being a dragon, poses as the owner of the party. And Jellybean is still in his kobold disguise. And they bluff their way past the Githyanki guards by saying Daba Shaba is the son of the city's black dragon ruler.
That is a bold lie.
A huge risk. But the guards don't want to be the ones who accidentally detain the boss's kid, so they let them pass.
And they get to the top. They find Alice.
Yeah.
But she's not what they were expecting.
No, they find an otter.
Just an otter.
A sleeping river otter being poked by little elemental mephits.
So what do?
They jump in. And this is where they really work as a team. Rowan tanks, Synthrin controls the air, Valor is singing, Petnin summons Fae.
And Jellybean,
unleashes pure, wild magic chaos.
of course.
They wipe out the mephits, and then Alice wakes up. She has no vocal cords. She uses an AAC stone to create magic mouths to talk. Very advanced tech.
Alice knows who Jellybean is.
She's read about him from across the ocean.
She knows he's Isaac the Great's famous pet.
But Jellybean, being a conduit of pure instability, touched Alice near a floating gate gem and...
Please tell me they have liability insurance for this.
I highly doubt it. Boom.
Right, so we see Alice, big beautiful otter, one of my favourite mustelid species, I must say. They're very charming, you see, and I guess I was smitten. So let's say I touched her. Not in a weird, creepy way, just comforting her is all. She asked us for her help and we were trying to give it. Next thing I know, magic's going off all over the place. As usual for me, my personal curse. And we were next to this big green gate stone of unknown power, and I don't see how it's my responsibility to think about the ramifications of my own actions. I'm not a risk assessment manager.
What's going on here then? Have you spoken to him about Joe yet?
Pitman!
He's the most important one, obviously.
Get out of here! This is my show and I'm talking about Alice.
Oh, that's pointless telling him all that stuff. Anyway, Joe is a
It's not
furbog
pointless.
like me. He's a very wise furbog. And a lot more
Pitman,
happened
shut
since
up.
all this. What's she talking about? She, I don't
Get
even know
out.
anymore. What are we? A butterfly.
Anyway, I surge all the time and don't usually fall to space into a cheap pasty, violently displacing us into other dimensions. If anything, this was overdue if I'm possible of such things. But yeah, mad that. But I've done worse things.
They are ripped from reality and deposited into, I can barely say it with a straight face.
The elemental plane of bears.
Yes.
I looked at the notes on this 3 times. I thought it was a typo. A grassland forest made of honey, populated entirely by bears. A bear cub they find under a pear tree.
Now, Bjornsson seems like a great addition. He's philosophizing, he's cute, but there's a hidden clause in his contract, isn't there?
Bjornsson, you see, was found having eaten a strange stone. The result is a glitch in his operating system.
A big one.
Whenever Bjornsson is surprised, he transforms into a surprise elemental. But the Hobnobs, they take him along.
Which brings us to the first major stress test, the battle for the bear elemental portal.
This is where we really see the team's combat synergy. The enemies here just fantastic. We have math elementals, the psychological attack.
Then we have drop bears just falling on Jellybean, bear elementals rolling down the hill like boulders.
But I want to focus on Rowan for a moment. He feels the presence of his deity, Ilmater.
So he has a choice. Pure religious devotion or loyalty to the franchise. And in the heat of the moment, with bear owls plunging from the sky, Rowan illuminates. And he chooses the team. Petnin casts plant growth.
It causes long brown fur to grow from the ground. The entire battlefield becomes a shag carpet.
Which slows the enemy advance, ruins their momentum, and then Jellybean does what Jellybean does best.
He lights the carpet on fire.
Synergy.
To be honest, Jellybean is the only other person of interest in the party. The rest of them are a bit boring. No imagination whatsoever in the whole party. Just Petnan and Jellybean. P&J.
One creates the fuel, the other one lights the match.
But the enemy responds with jelly bears. Giant, oozing gummy bears emerging from these obelisks. The team, along with their other assets, Alice and Artificer Otter, they picked up, and the ticking time bomb, Bjornsson, they scramble through the portal.
They have successfully exited the bear market.
Which brings us directly to Phase 2, the audit.
Or, as geographers call it, Bitopia. A mirrored world. You have mountains above you and below you, nearly touching in the sky. It is a breathtaking view.
And that view is a problem.
A big one. Bjornsson, our glitchy bear cub, looks up, sees the inverted mountains, and gets surprised.
Boom. Surprise elemental.
He almost kills Alice, the artificer. Rowan, our cleric, is suddenly swarmed.
But not by enemies, by fans. Or more like frantic interns.
Worshippers of Ilmater.
So these cultists are desperate to heal the party because they need the good deed credit.
Good deed credit. Good deed credit.
Meet Seraph, an angel, an accountant, a divine regulator who judges souls based on a very strict point system.
Is the main feed. Every action by every human on Earth is recorded and then sent here to be assigned a point value based on the absolute moral worth of that action.
The results right here. Listen.
Rowan scores 142 points. He's a high performer, top of the class.
Good for him.
Though in true perfectionist fashion, he calls it a pathetic score. He has very high KPIs for himself. Jellybean, 0 points. The cosmos considers him a pet. He has no moral agency. He's exempt from judgment.
Sorry I can't be sued, I'm a ferret. What about Erevan?
He manages a small profit. Originally -2, but he got bumped to 3 points after comforting Petnin. A last-minute emotional donation.
Valor, the violent bard.
-53 points.
Oof, that's a significant deficit.
His aggressive acquisition strategies, which mostly involve murder, are dragging down the company average. But he gets results, so we keep him on the payroll.
But the real crisis is Petnin. What's his credit score?
-13,125 points.
They're basically doomed.
I look at that and see a man with a lot of life experience.
That is a lot of red ink.
To achieve a score that low requires discipline. You cannot just accidentally be that wicked. You have to wake up every morning and decide to be a problem for the universe.
Let's read the line items on that audit, shall we? Seraph lists them out.
Go ahead.
Drug dealing, gambling, public urination, cruelty.
That's street smarts. That's a diverse portfolio of vices. It shows he knows how to hustle. You can't teach that in business school.
Perhaps not. But the audit reveals a specific and rather horrifying liability regarding Petnin. He discovers that the squirrels, the ones he loves to hug because they make a funny crunching noise.
Oh no. I didn't like where this was going in the notes.
The audit reveals that those squirrels were, in fact, the reincarnated souls of his druid kin.
So he's been crunching his own relatives.
Yeah, that is a massive HR violation.
Well, what could I say, really? Well, obviously the maths doesn't quite add up. I'm a very good person, hand on heart. Also, what's wrong with having the high score? Erevan wished he had such a high score. He barely even touched numbers, to be honest. The squirrels was a misunderstanding. How was I meant to know that they were not squirrels? That they didn't want cuddling and they were fat druids? How was I meant to know anything about it? Well, it all started, really. I met Joel. The squirrel sort of happened after that. Have I told you about Joel?
Rowan looks at this arbitrary point system where a chaotic ferret gets a pass, but a hardworking, albeit scroll-crunching druid is condemned, and he just snaps.
He argues with the angel. He calls the system useless, judgmental. The team decides they are done with the audit, and they float upward to the salty portal. Castle Caladan?
A grim place. This entire sequence is a clear homage to a certain desert planet sci-fi saga.
It's in everything here.
Leor of the Caledonians.
He who controls the spice controls the universe. He who controls the past controls the galaxy.
They face Baron Sharkonnen,
A shark abomination.
and his minion, Fish Leto. It is a brutal fight.
Swatch and fish people are swarming the walls. There are shark abominations everywhere.
But the highlight's Petnin. He uses his wild shape.
Eagle Man?
He transforms into a giant eagle, grabs enemies, flies them high into the air,
And drops them. It's simple physics.
In a siege, verticality is everything. He picks up Valor, the heavy infantry, and airdrops him directly onto the sharks. Meanwhile, a raven is parkouring along the walls, acting as a sniper unit, suppressing the archers. But then we have to talk about Jellybean.
The chaotic variable.
He attempts to shield the non-combatant assets, Alice the otter and Borenson the bear. He tries to cast a defensive spell, but wild magic.
And instead of protecting them, he warps them directly next to a water myrmidon.
A high-level elemental threat.
It's a critical error. The myrmidon strikes.
Borenson dies.
R.i.p. Borenson.
The surprise elemental inside him releases, and that triggers a wild magic chain reaction from Jellybean that is just... Jellybean grows a third eye. He gains supernatural speed.
He summons 5 flumps. These are friendly, floating jellyfish creatures.
He summons Pointy the unicorn, and then he accidentally sets the unicorn on fire.
Baron Sharkonnen sees Valor cutting through his workforce. Valor grapples the Baron. They're locked in close quarters combat. And then, Eagleman returns.
Petnin, 60 feet up in the air, folds his wings, he dives, and mid-dive, he shifts form.
He wild shapes into a shark.
1,000 pounds of shark accelerating at terminal velocity, impacting the Baron.
It's the finishing move. The impact stuns the target, and Valor deals the killing blow.
You know, during that fight, there were a lot of things going through my head. Things like, I really need to save my friends from their accursed fate. And it was such a liberating feeling knowing that my enslaved friends are finally free, since there was no way to save them or anything like that. So it was a very rewarding experience to see them finally put to rest. And it was only, you know, a little bit painful for the first 3 to 7 swings. And then after the blood started to flow, not really sure who was the Sharkonnen and who was smelling blood.
They capture the Supwagan priestess. And I love Erevin's move here. He uses the vanishing flumps as stepping stones to get down from the wall.
Stylistic points matter. It keeps morale high. Valor interrogates the priestess. He uses a very direct negotiation tactic.
Which is?
The threat of immediate murder.
Simple but effective. And the intel they get is crucial. We learn that the previous management, Fish Leto and his guards, they weren't just bad at their jobs, they were cursed.
By a third-party disruptor.
Gray skin, antlers, a strong floral scent, tall.
Petnin recognizes this profile immediately. It matches the description of a furbolg.
Specifically, his lost friend Joel. This Joel figure was trading artifacts to Baron Sharkonnen in exchange for, well, for spare bodies.
A grisly supply chain.
Yeah. Speaking of artifacts, Rowan secures a key asset from the wreckage. The Seraph Stone.
It's a gate stone.
Yeah.
And has literally trapped the angel seraph inside it.
Vigorously. They hit it with clubs, they shock it. Petnin even casts Erupting Earth on it, which causes a lot of collateral damage.
They are trying to break it.
Rowan attunes to it, effectively adding a direct line to a celestial regulator to his personal inventory.
Valor forces the priestess to use a magical conch to open the next portal. And Petnin doesn't even wait for a vote.
He jumps. They need to find this Joel. They need to stop this mysterious furbolg who's disrupting the entire market.
Which brings us to the final analysis. Who is your favorite hobnob in this deep dive?
Oh, that's tough. I want to say Jellybean for the chaos, but I have to give it to Petnin.
Petnin, the failed drug dealer.
He got stuck in a gelatinous cube, got robbed by a squirrel, and then accidentally became a philanthropist. You?
For me, it has to be Rowan.
Oh, the boring choice.
It's the smart choice. He's the only reason they survived the month.
Of course. You like the guy who does the taxes. I like the guy who causes the problems.
You need both.
And we'll see you on the next deep dive.